Now, these aren't apology videos. I'm not apologizing to you. That's not what this is about. I can remember like 5 years old, starting from five, being chased by my father. We were chased by five different addresses. By the time I was young, by an abusive father who used to abuse my older brothers and abuse my mum and was very violent. So I'd be 5 years old, suffer abuse, watch my family being abused, and then have to move to another place and run away from, hide from him, and he'd find us again. So every time this happened, I'm suffering trauma, and then I got to go to another school and be attacked and spat on and beaten up by white Australians. So this has happened 5 times since I was a kid. 5, 7, 9, 11. Being abused by my father and having an abusive, violent father, and then having to run away and move. It's very traumatic for a child. And then every place you go, you're being extra traumatized by white Australians treating you like shit, spitting on you, calling you names, literally beating you up, having to run home from school. Everyone, when they're a kid, they have those dreams. Those dreams when you're running away from a shadowy figure and you don't know who it is and they're chasing you and they're trying to get you. Well, I had those dreams too, but mine wasn't a shadowy figure. Mine was my father. I'm always being chased by my father. He's hunting us down. He's trying to kill us. I know exactly who it is, and I can never get away from him. So they're the kind of dreams I had as a kid. And every time we'd move to a new place, he'd find us, and I'd have to suffer the abuse and trauma all over again. Then I turned to 17 and, horrible things happened to me at 17. I won't tell you what happened when I was 17. I had my first psychotic break. And I ended up in this horrible place called Larundel. It's like being sent to the worst prison in the world for doing nothing wrong. And it wasn't like it is now. You get sent there for you deteriorate. You go there feeling sick, and because it's such a horrible place, you deteriorate. So you go. It's not a 2 week, 3 week, 4 week visit. You get stuck there for 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, and it was horrible. It was the most frightening place you can be as a 17-year-old, surrounded by all these mentally ill people, in dorm rooms that had 20 men in one room, and then a floor with 6 rooms with 20 men in them. It was horrible. It was scary. And all the screams that would go on at night and all that kind of stuff. And then you're suffering that trauma too, and you get out and someone's being a racist prick to you. So all my life I've suffered trauma, and then after I've been traumatized, I've been re-traumatized by people being racist to me. So now I'm 48. Whenever someone's racist to me, it brings back trauma going back to 5 years old. I get violent. I get angry. You remember being a 5-year-old kid wanting to pay back all those people that treated you terribly? Yeah, that's what I feel like. I feel like a 5-year-old kid again. I want you all to pay for all the suffering I went through. You say something, it's totally flippant to you. You call me a nigger. You call me a nigger faggot. You say something like that. It means nothing to you, but it triggers years and years of trauma for me. And I turn into the violent monster that I'd love to have been able to fight back when I was a kid. When I was a kid, 5-year-old kid, being surrounded by 4 racists. I'm in grade 1, and there's 5 grade 5s beating me up and calling me nigger. I'd love to go back and be able to have the sight and weight and fear that I'd instill in them now, and then make them pay for it as I'm suffering through trauma. And they're re-traumatizing me because of the color of my skin. So I don't apologize for the way I've behaved. To suffer trauma again and again and again. And now when a person's racist to me, it brings back all that trauma. Because every time I was traumatized, someone was racist to me and compounded that trauma. You're not dealing with a rational brain when you do that to me. I feel angry for weeks. I feel violent for weeks. I feel like a 5-year-old child that wants to pay back all those people. That's how I feel. I can't help it. I've got to learn to control it, but I can't help it. I suffer from PTSD. And every time I get a racist attack, I get overcome with PTSD. I want to pay you all back. It's really hard to deal with. Really hard to deal with. There isn't a black person in this country as old as me, 49, who hasn't suffered terrible trauma and then traumatized again by the white people in society. There's lots of us. So I don't apologize for that, but I need to change it. I need to change it. I mean, what's round and mean? A vicious circle. See, the thing is, I can't change you. I can't change what you do to me. I can't change you trying to traumatize me again. There's nothing I can do with that. So I've got to learn to deal with the trauma in other ways. I've tried that by building things and making stuff and building stuff with my hands, and some of it's amazing stuff. Because quite frankly, I've done some amazing things for the past that I've come from. My family are proud of me. I've done some amazing things. So I've got to learn to deal with the pain and trauma you cause me every day, every time I leave the house. Just seeing you causes trauma. Just wondering if someone's going to make some racist comment causes me trauma. Walking down the street around white people traumatizes me. I don't care if you don't get that. I don't care if you can't relate to that. I don't need you to. I need to learn better ways to deal with my trauma than being a vicious monster. But that's a 5-year-old vicious monster that wants to pay back everything that you ever did to me while I was traumatized. No, I don't apologize for that. Because you certainly don't apologize to me, and I don't apologize to you for what you did to me.